Alright, good afternoon, everyone on YouTube.com. I have another battle here with Fat Jesus, a frequent on my stream and also viewer on YouTube. So let's go ahead and get it started this time. I believe this is maybe the fourth battle we've had in Gen 6. We've had quite a few of them. He seems to always, the RNG that I use always seems to like him when selecting my opponents on stream. But this game is a very good one, so let's go ahead and get started. I lead with Kingdra, and this is a, what is it, a Sniper Kingdra with Focus Energy, very powerful set, as he leads with his Star Raptor, who just U-turns, and makes me kind of think that it is either Choice Band or Choice Scarf, some kind of choice item. Either way, I just go for the Draco Meteor against it because I didn't know what it would do, and I just wanted to kill it, and I ended up getting the kill on the Manectric. So maybe I should have set up, maybe not, but yeah, that Manectric was almost certainly his Mega Evolution, so getting rid of it without it, before it even had a chance to Mega Evolve, definitely pretty nice. Anyway, so he goes into Slurpuff, which is the problem now, is that I gave this thing free reign to set up because my Kingdra can't do anything with -2 special attack, so I'm pretty much forced to switch out. I go into Honchkrow, and then I make kind of a brain derp and go for the Sucker Punch, which is resisted by fairies. And it still does decent damage, but he's able to KO my Honchkrow with Play Rough, which is not good. He has a Belly Drum, so yeah, it's going to be doing quite a lot of damage. Thankfully, I do have Scizor on this team, and this is my Choice Band Scizor, and I'm just going to go for the Bullet Punch to take it out. He does stay in, and yeah, crisis averted. I mean, he's just a Slurpuff, though, like 2 or 3 times against me, and that's the first time he got a kill with it, so he has to be at least a little bit happy about that. Anyway, so he goes out into his Gastrodon, which if you watched the previous battles with this guy, you should know this thing is a pain. Either way, I'm going to switch out. I'm locked into Bullet Punch. I go into Ferrothorn to take pretty much anything. Ferrothorn is a special wall, and yeah, the only thing he can really do that would hurt me is burn me with the Scald. He doesn't get it the first Scald he used. I go for the Stealth Rock as he protects, which is basically free Stealth Rocks for me, which is excellent. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about that, as he actually kind of surprises me by staying in and going for another Scald. Really want to get a burn on my Ferrothorn. He ends up getting it, and a crit, not that the crit mattered. But yeah, I just stay in and go for the Leech Seed. I actually thought he would switch, and I wanted to get the Leech Seeds on whatever he went out into. But he actually made a pretty good play, I guess. Well, the luck was with him, and ends up getting a burn on Ferrothorn, which isn't a huge deal. I mean, Ferrothorns are physical, but they really don't, like, I don't really use it for, you know, it doesn't attack as much as most Pokemon, and, yeah, it's more for bulks. But the residual damage is still pretty annoying. Anyway, so he goes out into Donphan. I end up going for the Power Whip because it's still X4 effective against Gastrodon in case he stays in. And I end up getting a crit, which means that is unreduced by the burn, I believe, because when critical hits ignore stat modifiers, even burn, so that was actually X2 damage. As you can see, Donphan is physically bulky anyway, so it would obviously take Power Whip pretty well, regardless of the burn. Anyway, so he goes for the Rapid Spin. I actually thought he would because, yeah, he has 2 Pokemon on his team weak to Stealth Rocks. I think actually, maybe, no, I think it's only 2. Either way, seemed like a pretty obvious play. I just stay in so I could get the damage on him because, yeah, that's pretty decent damage with the Iron Barb ability, and then I just got the Leech Sheet up, and yeah, so the Donphan is going to pay a little bit for that Rapid Spin. Either way, I feel safe just trying to go for the Stealth Rocks again. He's probably going to switch out into a Pokemon that is weak to Stealth Rocks to use this opportunity, so I'm just going to set them up again. Yeah, he did get a switch here in a Staraptor that I could have maybe avoided, but whatever. I just set up the Stealth Rocks again, and obviously I do not want to stay in. Staraptors almost always carry close combat, which would not make my Ferrothorn happy to take one. So I go out into my Tentacruel, which is, no, old school, bulky water Pokemon, and of course resists fighting, being that it is part poison. So, yeah, he goes for the close combat, and, yeah, I do resist. He loses his defense and special defense and all that, and, yeah, not much else to say. He's going to withdraw because he's locked in at close combat, I assume, and just go back into Slugger. He figures, I guess, that my Tentacruel can't really do much to him, and he can still hit pretty hard with his Earth power. Anyway, I set up Toxic Spikes, mainly because he doesn't have a way to get rid of toxic spikes, and the residual damage would really help, especially against things like this slugger. Anyway, so he has a Rocky Helmet, which does end up hitting me before I'm able to knock it off. And yeah, he just goes for the Earth Power, which does a little bit. It does annoying amounts. Yeah, Tentacruel is pretty bulky, but it's still super effective in stab, so I have to switch out. I go into Kingdra thinking I might be able to actually set up against this guy. And looking at that damage, I'm not actually sure if I have another turn or not. I just go for the Focus Energy. He ends up critting, because I thought, okay, maybe I have enough HP to set up. But he ends up critting anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Looking at the damage again, it probably would have came down to RNG whether I lived without without the crit, whether I would have lived or not. But yeah, he is able to take me out. That kind of sucks. Anyway, so I go back into Ferrothor now, which seems pretty safe against the Gastrodon, being that I pretty much forces him to switch. He ends up going into Terrakion, which I'm pretty afraid of. Obviously, Terrakion is one of those powerhouse Pokemon. I just go for the Leech Seed because I knew he'd switch. And yeah, at least I'm going to be able to get some residual damage on Terrakion using the Leech Seeds and the poison that he just received from the Toxic Spikes. Either way, this battle has a lot of residual damage. I'm getting a lot of turn to talk in between, in between these turns. One thing about Gen 6 is the residual damage, the end of turns effects take so much longer than they did in Gen 5. Oh well, so he goes for the close combat. I actually thought he might overpredict here, so I stayed in. Ends up pretty dumb play for me. And then I make an even dumber play, actually. Upon reflection, this is an even worse play. I go out into Tentacruel, thinking I might be able to live one, but I can't. I don't know if this is a Choice Band Terrakion or a Choice Scarf. Either way, it was a stupid idea. Even if it was just Choice Scarf, Terrakion has a ton of attack, and it's a stab, close combat, and yeah, Tentacruel isn't super known for its high defense. It's more special defense, and I could have just went out into Scizor because I have the priority Bullet Punch, which would kill it, or scare it away at very least. So I'm pretty stupid about sacking Tentacruel there. So he wisely goes out into Gastrodon, thinking that I would Bullet Punch, and I do. I didn't really want to overpredict and risk anything. I didn't want to risk it at this point, that I might predict wrong. Either way, the Slugger is going to, be poisoned due to the Toxic Spikes, and my Bullet Punch will still do okay damage. I mean, not great, but yeah. So I go into my own Mega, which is Tyranitar. I'm actually down, I believe, these are my last two guys, Tyranitar and Scizor. So I have my back against the wall. In the back of my mind, I think the only way I'm going to win this is if I can set up a Scissor Sweep, which means I need to get rid of or severely hurt this Gastrodon if I am going to have any chance. So anyway, I Mega Evolve. This is a Dragon Dance set, but I decided just to go for the Crunch because I figured it was safer. This thing, obviously, we do know it has Scald, and if he got the burn, it would be pretty much game over if I went for the Dragon Dance, and it turns out I was right, because he did get the burn, so it's a good thing I just went for that Crunch right off the bat, and now I just have to hope that even with the burn, I can kill him at this point with Crunch. So I go for the Crunch, and I do have enough damage to take it out, so I was pretty happy about that. Unfortunately, Tyranitar is pretty crippled, so he's not going to be able to do a whole much more in this battle, but looking at his team, he has the Donphan left, he has the Terrakion, and he has the Staraptor, so I stand a pretty good chance of a Choice Band Bullet Punch sweep at this point. Anyway, he goes out into Terrakion. I don't want to, obviously risk damage on Scizor, so I just stay in, let him kill my Tyranitar. Now I'm going to go out into Scizor. He can't afford to let anything take a Choice Band Bullet Punch, so he's just going to let me kill Terrakion, which, to be honest, let's face it, my only Pokemon left is Scizor, so not a bad play on his part. Either way, here he makes a bit of a misplay. Instead of going into Staraptor first, which he should have done, he ends up going into Donphan first. Now, the reason he should have went into Staraptor first is for the Intimidate. I mean, I don't know if it mattered. I don't know. This Bullet Punch is able to finish off the Donphan. Let's just lead with that. With the Intimidate, I'm not actually... I'd have to do some calcs, but I'm not actually sure. If he did get the Intimidate off first, that Donphan might have been able to actually get off a hit like an Earthquake against me, which definitely would be helpful, because this Staraptor, after the Intimidate, does take at least one Bullet Punch, so he might have been able to actually finish me off with the Donphan had he just done damage with Staraptor first. As you can see, he goes for the Roost. He's hoping that the Bullet Punch will do less than the Roost, so he can get some health back. But unfortunately for him, it looks that I'm doing about the same amount of damage as he's healing with Roost. So yeah, he's pretty much no point to stall at this point. His only chance really is a crit Brave Bird or Close Combat or something. Brave Bird, obviously, would be a little bit stronger. But yeah, by continuing to Roost, he just risks he risked me critting, or just in a PP stall I would win because Bullet Punch has a ton of PP, especially compared to Roost. So yeah, he ends up trying to go for the Brave Bird. He does not get the crit, and yeah, he ends up killing himself that turn. So good game, Fat Jesus. That was a good one. And being that Christmas is just a few days away, and it is the holiday season, leave a comment about your favorite holiday. Mine is probably still Thanksgiving, because of the 4 Fs. But yeah, leave a comment about your favorite holiday, and I will see you guys again next time, I hope. Rate, comment, subscribe if you like this video, and take care. Later.